Hi, I'm Nan Dale, the CEO of Action Against Hunger, ACF International. I'd like to start, actually, by borrowing an idea from Kaya Stern, who is the head of prison studies at Harvard. And she spoke recently at the Harvard Big Ideas Conference, and she talked about life and musical chairs. And what she said had a lot of resonance for me, and I think helps to frame many of the issues that we are grappling with here today. So I'm going to begin by asking you if you would think about your childhood a little, and how many of you remember playing musical chairs? It's amazing. And I'm going to ask you to leave your hands up if you also remember that feeling of dread, that sense of exclusion when the music stopped and you weren't able to find a chair. I think we all remember that. It's somehow indelible. I know I remember it, and I remember, not so proudly, pushing and shoving and maneuvering and losing. I think musical chairs, for many of us, was the first early lesson in how the world works. We learned about scarcity and competition. And we came to believe that there weren't enough resources in the world for all of us. Sorry. Some of us even can remember back to realizing that there were, in fact, plenty of chairs in the room, even though we couldn't find one, that they had simply been taken out of the game and that we had lost access to them. For many, these lessons persist, and folks have come to believe that issues like global hunger and thirst are issues of scarcity, that there simply isn't enough to go around. But it is not the case. It is not true. In the places where Action Against Hunger works all around the world, even in the most remote places, even in the most broken places, the markets, perhaps surprisingly, are often fully functioning. They're full of produce. And the problem is that the people living nearby have no access to them. They don't have the means to access them. And for the most part, it's the same with water. If we're going to solve these problems, we're going to need to rewrite the rules. First, we need to shed the illusion of scarcity in the face of the reality that there is enough food and water for everyone. And second, we need to end the kind of foolish competition that exists between not-for-profits and for-profits. All of us want to solve the problem, and no one of us has a monopoly on wanting to have a better world. And it's precisely because of these beliefs that I'm here today to share with you how two global not-for-profits and two global corporations have come together to make a life-saving commitment to provide safe, clean water, what we, with only a touch of irony, refer to as the ultimate liquid asset, to provide that kind of asset to 44,000 people in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a nation still reeling from decades of conflict and neglect. Action Against Hunger has been in the DRC since 1997, where we've developed a strong working relationship with government at all levels of the country and of society. We work with the ministries of health and agriculture to build the capacity of the country to end deadly malnutrition. Deadly malnutrition is claiming the lives of so many Congolese children. To end malnutrition, people have to have access to clean water. Water is every bit as important as food. And waterborne diseases both cause and complicate malnutrition, resulting in the deaths of many thousands of children every single day. And knowing this, millions of people spend hours every day in search of clean water to prevent themselves and their children from having impure water. Instead of tending to their crops, instead of tending to their children or their businesses, women are fetching water. Instead of going to school, children are fetching water. So providing clean drinking water is one of the most efficient and effective things any of us can do to interrupt the cycle of malnutrition, poverty, and disease. And it's precisely why the 4 organizations that you'll hear from have come together to create what we call the Clean Water Access Initiative. Our very first partner in this regard was Tyco International. So to tell you that part of the story, here's Paul Fitzhenry.
Just to take a step back, Nan, the Clean Water Access Initiative was conceived and launched by Tyco and Action Against Hunger 2 years ago. Tyco made an initial commitment of $2 million to fund this in both cash and hopefully in product donations from our company's businesses. The partnership actually grew out of a crisis, which was the Haiti earthquake, when we needed to find a partner that could act very quickly on the ground in the humanitarian relief effort. And through a quick search, we found Action Against Hunger, and they were on the ground with a team already before the earthquake struck, and were able to work very quickly with us with a small donation. So why water and why Action Against Hunger? Tyco we're a diversified industrial company. We're not the toy company that someone asked me about earlier today. We're a diversified industrial company with a water business primarily in the Asia-Pacific region, and we have extensive water pipeline manufacturing and water transmission installations across the Asia-Pacific region in many water-challenged countries. Why Action Against Hunger? Quite simply, they have the experience, more than 30 years, in solving water and hunger problems. They operate in more than 40 countries around the world. They're on the ground and can deploy very quickly with local teams, and they benefit more than 5 million people a year through their water projects around the world. The initial goals of the Clean Water Access Initiative, from a Tyco perspective, were to form a long-term partnership and to be able to leverage all of the assets that we could bring to the table. So that was not only cash donations, which is the easy stuff, but also getting our products into their projects. And number 3, really calling upon the expertise of our people and their passion. The first project we got off the ground after signing the Clean Water Access Initiative was in the NTT province of rural Indonesia. That project we started about a year ago, and it has delivered water to 13 remote villages in NTT province, serving 42,000 people. Pleased to report that project was completed earlier this year, and what really made it valuable for Tyco was that we were able to bring the full range of assets to that, including members of our manufacturing and engineering teams that actually were on site in Indonesia and helped with the installation. Year 2 came along and we started to think bigger. What is it we could do to have a project that would have greater impact? And as Nan mentioned, the DRC came up with as an idea and a big picture idea. In fact, a very large project that Action Against Hunger had scoped out that involved 4 gravity flow systems, 89 water distribution points, and protection of some 20 springs. The cost to implement this project was $1.5 million, far more than we could commit to. So the question became, how can we make this happen? What is it that we can do to achieve this greater impact with a dollar amount that was quite beyond Tyco's means to fund? What we found out in the course of conversation with Action Against Hunger was that there was a partner that they had worked with in the DRC, and it was Charity Water. And the question for us, and was Richard's question earlier today, where can we find some common ground here to expand our partnership to 3 organizations? And we found out that, in fact, we could do that. We met with Action Against Hunger and Charity Water in January and agreed to get the 3 organizations involved in this project to benefit 44,000 people. I'm going to turn now to Jonna Davis from Charity Water to talk about that.
Almost 800 million people, that's 1 in 9 of us, doesn't have access to clean and safe drinking water. Yet most people aren't aware of this crisis, and at Charity Water, we believe that we can change this by raising awareness, by raising funds, one person, one community at a time. Charity Water leverages the power of social media to fund water sanitation and hygiene programs in developing countries around the world. Then we show our donors how they've helped by posting GPS coordinates and photos of each of the water projects that they've funded. Sharing stories of the amazing work being done on the ground helps us to continue raising money for more and more projects. Charity Water was founded on a core belief in the power of partnerships. To ensure the projects are sustainable, we work with top-notch partners like ACF that have a track record of exceptional results. They know the target areas, they know the complexities of the water issues facing communities in the areas where they work, and they understand which water development techniques are suitable for the context. The Clean Water Access Initiative was a perfect fit for us. We knew that our donors would love the opportunity to maximize their impact by leveraging new funding sources. We also knew that we could expand the reach of the project. $1 million would not only support the planned systems that Paul mentioned, but it could also support rainwater catchments plus 2 additional systems with 31 distribution points. We could also help support critical sanitation and hygiene programming to improve the effectiveness and sustainability of the program. The original 4 gravity-fed systems called for locally sourced pipes and valves. However, we wanted to ensure sustainability using Tyco's pipes and valves, which were superior in quality. They were also still compatible with local parts. The only problem was getting them from Tyco's factory in Jakarta to the DRC, which is normally a prohibitively expensive undertaking. That's where our 4th partner came in, UPS. UPS is in another session right now, so I'm going to turn it back over to Paul to discuss their role.
Very quickly, UPS solved a very big problem for us, and it was with a program that was consistent with their goals to help communities prepare for and respond to natural disasters. They're a global leader in logistics, as we know, and they provide more than 200 in-kind shipments per year to help NGOs like Action Against Hunger and Charity Water getting supplies and equipment to communities in crisis. In the case of the Clean Water Access Initiative, their commitment was to ship 15 tons of valves and pipes and other equipment over a 2.5-month period to the port of Kinshasa in the DRC. And that is going to happen starting this month and will be completed, we hope, by the end of this year. And I'll turn it back to Nan for some final comments.
So I think, as you can see, by combining the skills and the resources of 4 organizations, we've been able to create a whole which is much greater than the sum of its parts. And we've been able to reach many, many more people than any one of us would have been able to do alone. Action Against Hunger created the initiative, and based on its knowledge of the country and our expertise in water, Charity Water came forward with 75% of the funding. Tyco provided the other 25% of the funding, plus the equipment that was critical to do the project, as well as the expertise of their employees. And UPS made it all possible by shipping the product to the DRC. We invite others of you to commit to similar initiatives, all of which can hold the promise of ending poverty and disease in the world for thousands and thousands of people, and allowing them and all of us to imagine the world differently. Thank you.